ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नीलाम्बुजं श्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्. Balakanda of Sri Ramcharitmanas, verse number 7, to be more precise, 7a, and then follows 7b, 7c, 7d. In Sanskrit language, they are 7k, 7ka, 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 7ga, 7ga. Graha bheshaj jal pavan pat पाई कुजोग सुजोग होहि कुबस्तु सुबस्तु जग लखहि सुलक्षण लोग. Saint Tulsidas Ji is presenting his introductory speech for the great work of the Ramayana. Topic is Kusanga and Susanga. Kusanga is wrong association, wrong context. Susanga is good association or a good context. Grah, astrological condition, can be the same, but for a good person, it has a good result. For a negative person, it will have a bad result. Same breeze may blow and same shower may come, but if you have weak resistance, you get sneezy. Another person gets inspired. These are simple things. Similarly, aushadhi, medicines, water, just the drink of water, air, clothes, they can do good to you as well as they can do bad to you, depending upon the context. It's depending upon whether it is good condition or it is a negative condition. In a broader way, kusanga and susanga, good association and evil association. With good association, things have a different implication. With evil associations, things have a negative connotation. Samprakasatama pakhaduh nama bheda vidhikin sasiso sakpo shaka samuji jaga jasa apajasa din. Every month is divided into two, the bright half and the black half. The bright half is called Shukla Paksh. The dark half is called Krishna Paksh. Mathematically, if you examine how much light and how much darkness each paksha, each half gives, the fact is both give the same thing. It is just like, to put it in a very simple way, a glass filled halfway can be described half full and half empty. So you suddenly present the glass and then will be surprised. Some say, oh, it is only half full. The others will say, it's half empty. In the same way, living in the world, if you have a spiritual sensitivity, you adopt the path of sadhana, integral yoga in daily life, then you are moving towards what Gita calls it Uttarayana, a northern path. It's all allegorical. On the other hand, if you have lived discordant life without integration, just led by the whims of your mind, then your focus is on the dark aspect. The bright aspect becomes the focus for those who are moving in a right way. Dark half becomes the focus for those who are moving in a wrong way. People who are moving in a wrong way, they are majority of people, talking in a very broad way. Very small amount of people. Naranam sahasreshu kaschit yavti siddhaye. Among thousands of people, some develop the ability to practice renunciation. Among those thousands, some develop a real aspiration. Upanishad goes on telling you, so it's not a matter of majority vote. It's a minority vote. Tulsidas ji is saying that I am presenting this Ramayana for all. And continue. Jad chetan jag jeeva jat sakal ram maya jani. Bandam sabke pad kamal sada jori jugapani. All the souls that exist as jada and or chetan, broad understanding is the world is manifestation of God. Things that seem inert to human being, they are not absolutely inert. They are all consciousness, just like in your dream. In your dream, you are seeing people who move around, they have life, they have consciousness, they are creatures, they are moving around. But also in your dream, you have rocks and mountains, and they don't move around. But all of them are your own consciousness. So must realize all this world, jada and chetan, conscious and inert, all this is Ramamaya. Ram is the pure consciousness. Ram is Satchidananda, existence, consciousness and bliss, absolute. And Bandam Sabke Pad Kamal, I offer adorations to the lotus feet of all. Figurative, otherwise how can you find the lotus feet of Himalayas? Or the lotus feet of birds, animals, whatever feet they have, just touch it. Touching the feet is allegorical. Even birds and squirrels you meet, and a peacock starts dancing before you, and your heart goes out, I adore God in each. It is that type of heart that enshrines Rama, that become real devotee of God. And that type of devotion is being promoted by Tulsidas. He says, shows his devotion of that high standard. But everything else he describes about himself is in a negative way. I am the worst, etc. We'll hear what he says. In other words, everything else means little. If you don't have bhakti, all your greatness, you can be a great literary person, a great poet, or a great reformer, or whatsoever you may be, all that is little. Without devotion, all this is shameful. Like it's just like having a chariot with everything elegant, but there is no destination to go to. But remaining, continue to wander in vain. Deva Danuj Nar Nag Khag Preta Pitar Gandharva Bandau Kinnar Rajanichar Kripa Karahu Abasarva. There are different classes of beings, and Tulsidasi names them according to tradition, according to certain time. People have enumerated different classes of beings. But those enumerations are allegorical. There are different stages of consciousness. Soul evolves through those stages. A certain stage of consciousness makes the soul a human being. A higher level of consciousness makes the soul Gandharva. Still higher makes the soul a Deva. The Taittiriya Upanishad that describes the gradations. Using that same method here, Tulsidasi says, Deva, Devatas, gods, Danuj, Daityas. Devatas are those who have divine qualities. Daityas are those who have developed undivine qualities, negative qualities of anger, greed, pride. Human beings who have fertile heart to develop godly qualities or undivine qualities, depending upon the direction, depending upon many other factors. Karma. Nagas, spirits that appear in the form of snakes, spirits in the form of birds, ghosts, souls of forefathers called Pitris. Gandharvas. Gandharvas are those souls that in Gandharva embodiment, what is highlighted is music and dance and artistic talents. And there are Kinnaras with amazing qualities, amazing abilities. Nishacharas, those who become stronger in darkness and possess dark forces. All these details don't matter. The simple point is that from the lowest state to the highest state, the soul goes through different levels of consciousness. And those levels of consciousness are different jivas. For in the universe, they are all spread out as jivas. In brief, all these are essentially Sita and Rama. Sita is the Prakriti aspect, and Rama is Brahman. And Prakriti is Brahman's Maya, and therefore, when we say Sita and Rama, that doesn't create duality. Maya and the Lord of Maya, magic and the Lord of magic, they don't create duality. That we have to understand. But as we go through the Ramayana, you will understand. Sita is Viveka Buddhi, intuitive intellect. Rama in every individual is soul, evolving, with the central purpose of being united with Viveka Buddhi. The soul has to develop Viveka Buddhi, joined together. The soul is in love with Viveka Buddhi. That's how the story begins. And has married Viveka Buddhi. But in spite of that, Ravana kidnaps Sita and places Sita in a confinement in Lanka. Lanka is a realm of unconscious. Rama's project is to allow Sita to be freed of the clutches of Ravana. And that I have given a very broad aspect and many details. The point is, Ramayana is to be worked out by every individual. Soul in you is Rama. The potential discriminative insight, Viveka Buddhi, is potential in every individual. The soul has to follow the path of Viveka and develop intuitive intellect. Once the soul is joined with intuitive intellect or Sita, that becomes possible when ignorance is destroyed. Once ignorance is destroyed, Sita blends with Rama. The duality terminates. Rama Rajya is attained. And that's the goal before every individual. And what Rama accomplished, that becomes your ideal, your goal, your source of inspiration. Jani kripa kar kinkar mohu, sab mil karahu chadi chalas chohu, nij buddhi bal bharos mohi nahi, tate binay karam sab pahi. At this stage, viewing the whole world filled with Rama, Tulsidas says, all of you, view me as a servant, and without having any restriction, with wholehearted process, shower your grace on me. I am not convinced of my power of intellect. Buddhi bal, I cannot trust, which is a simple insight. When you are entering into the path of devotion, bhakti or jnana, buddhi bal, it is not intellect's strength that can allow you to explore these. Buddhi bal will help you only to gain some indirect knowledge, the data. What Brahma does, what Vishnu does, what Shiva does. Some and countless data about so many things. How many scriptures are there? How many Mahavakyas are there? How many sheets do you have? All this, your intellect will give you all this, which is wonderful. But that intellect will not help you when you are facing challenges. When you face challenges in life, then it's Atma Bal that helps you. Strength that you have aroused within you as a result of your japa, your meditation, your good association. In brief, your integral movement. It is that which helps you when you are in real difficulty, not the books of mathematics. Mathematics. I'm joking, don't take it serious. I'm nothing against mathematics. It's a divine subject. Simple point Tulsidas is presenting, that this work of his is not based on power of intellect. It's based on bhavana, feeling. Karan chahau raghupati gunagaha, laghumati mori charita vagaha, sujana ekau anga upau, manamati ranka manoratha rau. I want to bring in the qualities of Lord Rama. In my poetic work, I want to bring in those qualities. But my intellect is so little. And Rama's personality is like the boundless ocean. I don't find, how am I able to accomplish it? I don't have any idea, I don't have a trace of this resolution. My mind and intellect both are deprived of all that is desirable. The actual word is kangal, absolute poverty. My mind and intellect are stricken with absolute poverty. And that again is just a simple statement. If mind and intellect has not brought in love of God, and if the idea of attaining liberation has not entered, then your mind and intellect will give you all the wealth of the world. Not in one life, even that is not so generous. They will give you from life to life. Give you in one life, snatch that from you in another life. And give you more, give you less. So ultimately your mind and intellect remain completely impoverished. But once the idea of attaining liberation enters, your mind and intellect undergo a tremendous change. Your mind becomes positive. Your intellect begins to move towards intuition. Tulsidas says, my mind and intellect are poor, poverty-stricken. But my aspiration is like the king. In spite of all this, I want to sing the story of Lord Ram. Just like, to give you a very cruder illustration, a frog says, though I have little, though my voice is poor, still I am going to sing praises of the clouds. The idea is, no matter how helpless you are, the feeling within you of loving God, that compensates for all your weaknesses. And it is that feeling that takes you to heights beyond your imagination. मति अति नीच ऊंची रुचि आछी, चाहिए अमीय जग जुरई न छाछी, छमी हहीं सज्जन मोरी दिठाई, सुनी हहीं बाल बचन मन लाई. My intellect is so little. My aspiration is so high. I am desiring to drink Amrita, nectar. But in my daily life, I don't even have buttermilk. All the good people should forgive my obstinacy. And in spite of all my defects, just like words of children, parents listen to those words, no matter how defective those words. So no matter how am I going to present it, please listen. Consider me as a baby, not as a learned scholar. Here again is a subtle point, which is practical reality. Practical reality is every scholar tries to outwit the other scholar. If you are writing Sanskrit literature, to compete with a scholar, you will write another book with such Sanskrit words that very few can use. I'm just giving you an elaborate way to understand. Or keeping a literature that gives all the beauty of literature that has been well defined already. And that's how literary people always want to present their thoughts. Tulsidas, even in the very beginning of writing the Ramayana, he sacrifices that. He is not going to be a scholarly writer. Therefore, when Tulsidas ji writes, great Sanskrit words are put into village terms. For example, Yajnavalkya. Tulsi Ramayana, Tulsidas says Jagabalik. Big Sanskrit names. And Tulsidasi has distorted them, completely made them village. Because it is not his intention to present himself as a scholar of Sanskrit, but as a devotee of God. And he is well aware of how what he is presenting is going to save countless lives, inspire countless people. He is well aware. But at the same time, he is aware that people who will turn to Ramayana for finding literary beauty and literary, from intellectual point of view, they will be frustrated. The moment you see Yagyavalkya written Jagabalik, it's a big blunder. And on the other hand, the most fascinating literature is that which links itself to religion, to spiritual knowledge, that links itself to bhakti and mukti. Therefore, in the Western world, when we talk of literature, we talk of Bible and Shakespeare. Shakespeare did literary aspect, and Bible supplements it. Ramayana is blend of both. Biblical devotion and a scholarly literature. Ramayana is both for Hindus, Bible, as well as super Shakespeare literary person. निज कवित्त केहि लागन नीका सरसो हो अथवा अति फीका जे पर भनिति सुनत रसाही ते बर पुरुष बहुत जगदाही. One's own poem is delightful to one, whether it contains rasa, contains wonderful, subtle, delicious implication, or any literature to some ears will be full of taste. To another ear, it may be just spiders getting into the ears. Rasili and fiki, these two words. Any rasgulla you are taking, some certain sweets that are full of sweet juice, called rasili. And then you are taking, another person brings you something looking the same, but it has no taste in it. Fiki. Fika and rasila. Ramayana is rasila for those who have some degree of devotion. They begin to be drawn to that special sweetness that Ramayana. But then those who are Dalwits, completely in wrong association, they're looking for hippie songs. And there is nowhere in Ramayana. So what a wastage of time. And Tulsidasi is addressing both types of people. This, what he is saying, this is my kavita, this is my way of writing, what can I do? If you don't like it, bear with me. If you like it, enjoy it. Those people who delight in listening to others' thoughts, feelings, others' writings, poetries, such people are rare in this world. In other words, develop a mind that enjoys, that's going to enjoy the positive I am going to offer to you. In this context, it implies don't stay with your own mental thoughts, but move out from your ego a little. Give a little room for listening to Ramayana. जग बहु नर सर सरि समभाई, जे निज बाढ़ी बढ़हि जल जपाई, सज्जन सकृत सिंधु सम कोई, देखी पूर विधु बाढ़ई जोई. In this world, human beings are like lakes and rivers. They become overflooded by their own prosperity. In other words, a shallow river, with little rain, it just overflows. In the same way, people, what they call success and prosperity, is like a shallow river trying to have lots of water. But what is the result? The river begins to overflow, breaks down even the wonderful trees around it, and lets in lots of frogs and crocodiles and whatever. But then, those rare souls who are like the ocean begins to swell up, surge, but not go beyond bounds. Simple point is that you are being given the difference between one who is enlightened, he is compared to the ocean. All things that happen, the ocean remains within its bounds. Rivers come into the ocean, rains come, storms. Ocean remains within the bounds. Similarly, so many things happen in your life. If you have attained that ocean-like awareness, all happenings are little trickles of water coming from different channels. How can that disturb the ocean? Water coming into the water and blending with the water. Self coming into the self. Apuryamanam machara pratishtham. That's the description of enlightened one in the Gita. But then those who are not enlightened, they are like shallow rivers. A little praise and the river begins to flow. A little censure and the river begins to shrink. In so doing, the river creates a lot of problems. So in a subtle way, he is also scolding people even without waiting for the project to finish. So don't be like rivers and shallow lakes. Be gambhir, profound. Develop some profundity in your heart and study what I am going to present to you. भाग छोट अभिलाष बड़ करऊं एक विश्वास पई हहीं सुख सुनि सुजन सब खल करी हहीं उपहास. My destiny is small. Here he is not talking from a philosophical point of view. That means he is simply talking of his common sense. The common sense study is that very few people will like the Ramayana. And if you follow the history of Tulsidas, his Ramayana became a source of great turmoil. The greatest scholars of his time, they began to condemn Ramayana. They couldn't bear with such distortion of great sages. Yajnavalkya bhi Jagbalik. So much so Tulsidas, they had to throw the Ramayana into the Ganges. But strangely enough, the story says someone picked it up. It was brought to light from ancient sheets of paper or of tree leaves. That was how it was Ramayana written, ancient style. But when he threw it, he had bandaged it well. And somehow it all survived. And then automatically it has gone into so many publications. So, Tulsidas had well understanding that how that type of writing that promotes love of God, that has been the predicament of the world. All religious people want others to love God. But their definition of love and the understanding of love is so strange that if you do not say a particular word the religion has prescribed, you become satanic. To give you crude illustration, one religious person sees a devotee offering adorations to the sun. Another religious man looks at the devotee with such superiority, how little this man is. Doesn't know that the sun is a massive gas. That's not God. So try to see the different angles of the mind. However, things that are done with devotion and profoundly good intention, those things cannot be destroyed. And so Ramayana exists and it will go on flourishing because all of its meaning is never brought out. The more people read it, the more you enter into it, greater will be your spiritual revelation. So he says, Tulsidas says, my bhagya is little. Bhagya is all my possibilities. But my desire is very big. But this is my Vishwas. This is my trust. Like Angada's foot later in the Ramayana. This is my Vishwas. That all good people will find tremendous joy. But all the dushtas, Darvit people, they will always laugh at Ramayana. And that's the way it is. Kal parihas hoi hit mora, kak kahin kal kantha kathora, hansahi bak dadur chata kahin, hansahi malina kal vimala bat kahi. But if these dushtas laugh at me, I will be benefited. Their laughter will not affect what I am going to present. In other words, great works are works of intense faith and trust. On one side, he shows his humility. On the other side, he is giving the strength of his faith. Crows always condemn cuckoos for their sharp sound, and herons condemn hansas. Herons are like ducks, big ducks. The big ducks, they laugh at swans. And frogs laugh at chataka birds. Chataka birds are very special birds. You have to be in a rainy season to understand these. I'm just joking, but the idea is, in rainy season, you see how they compete with each other. Cuckoo will start saying its own way. Crow will start croaking another way. Ducks will start croaking in another way. Swans express themselves in another way. All are competing with each other. In other words, the most qualified ones, and their expressions are completely ignored. Cuckoos are very qualified. Swans, Chataka birds. In the same way, in the world of literature, so many things people have written in so many subjects, literary writings, dramas, and great articles of faith. And all these writings are like these different types of creatures. कबित रसिक न राम पद नेहु, तिन्ह कहाँ सुखद हास रस एहु, भाषा भनिति भोरी मति मोरी, हसी बेजोग हसे नहीं कोरी. Those who do not have the ability to enjoy real poetry, those who lack love for the lotus feet of Rama, for them this Ramayana of mine will become a source of humor. Even for the sake of laughing at it, they will read it. It is true, Tulsidas says, that what I have written in a village language, and my intellect is like a villager's innocent type of personality, bholi buddhi. And so it is good to be laughed at. That again gives you subtle idea. When in satsang, certain subjects are taught or brought out, different people have different reactions. Some people will say, how wonderful. Say, oh, I don't believe that. That Rama killed Bali from behind the bushes. He should have been a heroic person. Frente a frente. So different people have different reactions. प्रभु पद प्रीति न सामुझनी की, तिनहि कथा सुनि लागी फीकी. हरिहर पद रति मति न कुतर की, तिन महा मधुर कथार उबर की. Those who do not have love for Rama and who do not have clear understanding, the story of Rama will not have some delicious type of experience, of feeling. They will not have that taste that makes the mind engrossed. The entire katha of Ramayana will be fiki. Those who lack love of Hari and Hara, Vishnu and Shiva, which implies God in different aspects. Rather, those who have love of Vishnu and Shiva, and whose understanding is free of kutarkas. Kutarkas are mental discussions against the devotion to Rama. The mind has its own logic, and it goes on seeing defect. Kutark, two types of rationality. One rationality takes you to the what is right. Another rationality pushes the right away and highlights the wrong. That rationality is called kutark. So those who do not have that kutark and who have spark of love, this story of Rama is extremely sweet for them. And with this I will conclude.